Hey everybody, what's the good word? Well, here I am with another Beatles Finds video, and I got a little bit of everything in this batch. I've got posters from vintage 60s time, I've got an 8-track tape, I've got some kind of promotional item, and of course I've got vinyl, which is going to be 12-inch records and also 7-inch records. So we're going to start right away. I think I'll start with an 8-track tape. This is an 8-track tape from 1976, George Harrison's 33 and a third album. It's in really good shape, and I particularly like buying these. If you notice here, when the glue is not lumpy, you see a few like lumps. A lot of times when you buy 8-track tapes, unfortunately, they kind of bubble up on you. I can find one where it's really nice like that, I like to pick it up for my collection. Okay, I mentioned something about a kind of advertisement or display item or something. I don't really know what it is, and this is it here. It's folding over, as you can see. I'm going to take it out of the plastic, which I placed it in. It seems to be some kind of promotional item for Ringo Starr's 1998 album, Vertical Man, advertising the song La Di Da, and also Drift Away. And there's a lot of information down there about it, which perhaps you can pause it if you want to read it, if it comes in clearly enough. You notice there's some perforations back here. I really don't want to, looks like it folded over like this. I don't really want to bend it too much because it's already coming apart there a little bit, if you notice. So I really want to be gentle with it, but I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's designed to stand up like this or something. I really don't know. This may even be part of some other display. Maybe there's a more to it than this, and I didn't get the whole thing, but that's the part I found. I don't know what that item is. If anybody has any clue, let me know. All right. Okay. Next up, we're going to do a couple of 7-inch records here. Let's go back to George for a minute. Now, when you look at this item, a lot of you out there who collect 45s of the Beatles will say, well, what's the big deal about this? Don't you have this already? Because after all, this is pretty common. It's right. It's the all those years ago, 1981 45 record, backed with writings on the wall. Well, when I picked this up, I realized it was made of more durable cardboard, a little thicker stock. And that's because it's UK. And the UK has the lyrics to the song All Those Years Ago, which, can be actually helpful because the lyrics to All Those Years Ago, a lot of times George sings them kind of fast, some of the awkward lyrics, and it's not always easy to decipher what he's saying. And so this time you can read it and figure out what it is. And of course, because it's a UK record, you've got a little spindle hole in there. And I like how on the top it says A for the A side. It's pretty interesting. So even though the actual artwork on here, the picture, is something that we're all used to, I figured it was nice to get it because it was UK pressing. Okay, here's what I think might be an unusual 45 for Ringo. I'm not really sure if it's that rare, but I don't usually see this that often. 1981, Ringo had his Stop and Smell the Roses album released, and the song that was really plugged as a single was Rack My Brain, which was a pretty good song, I thought. But I didn't know that the company Boardwalk Records also put this out, which is Private Property. It's a song from the album written by Paul McCartney, and that's the A side. It's kind of an unusual single, I think. And the other side is Stop and Take the Time to Smell the Roses, which was written by Ringo and Harry Nilsson together. And I always enjoy that song. A lot of Beatle fans don't think much of it, don't really enjoy it. Me, I think it's just a lot of fun. It's a wild and crazy song, and something different. It's supposed to be a novelty tune. Not supposed to be with a little help from my friends. All right, now moving on to 12-inch records. Managed to find this copy of sealed of John and Yoko's Milk and Honey album, and being sealed with the hype sticker Just wanted to add that to my collection. It's a cutout bin version, unfortunately. You can see that whenever you see a slice like that in the lower corner or upper corner, somewhere on the record, it means it was kind of in the bargain bin at one point. So that's unfortunate, but until a better one comes along, this is really nice. I had a copy of this at one time with the hype sticker, uh, not sealed, kind of just, the shrink was on it, but it was sliced open. And there's no reason to ever open this one because I've got a plain copy. So if I want to, that's the thing too. I'll take this a little moment here to talk a little bit about that. A lot of people, who don't really get into the whole idea of, you know, keeping records in the shrink wrap as collector's pieces. I do that, and it's, depending on what the album is, I have a plain copy, so you don't really lose anything, if you know what I mean. Okay, all right, so that's that. All right, now I have a confession to make, folks. This happens from time to time. I'm trying to be more discerning about the Beatles-related items I buy. And I realize you can't have everything, so I'm kind of a little more careful what I pick up. Well, this particular time I kind of broke. I caved in about these for a long, long time. I wasn't going to buy these, and only certain ones. This series came out, and I bought just a few that I wanted, and said I'm not going to get all of these over again. But I got to tell you, I kind of caved in, and we're talking about these Paul McCartney albums that have come out and continue to come out on colored vinyl. As you can see there, we have a limited edition blue vinyl. Yeah, I don't buy everything. I'm still not going to bite and buy that Egypt Station suitcase traveler's edition that it came out. No, that's not happening. All right, but let's look at this. This is the first time I'm looking at the record. Oh, hey, look what I found. One of those download cards. And you know what I do with these things, right? Let's see. This card offers you a free MP3 download. Free MP3 download? Oh, how nice. I don't go for downloads. Sorry. All right. Anyway, here we go. This is really nice. I like the way that picture of Paul kind of working there. Paul, always working, always thinking about new material, always has melodies running around in his head. An amazing, amazing songwriter. And let's look at the colored vinyl now, shall we? Oh, yeah, let's look at it. Oh, yeah. Side one. Look at that. Really deep blue vinyl. Beetle Brad, I'm with you, Beetle Brad. Beetle Brad loves colored vinyl, and so do I. Who gives a damn if it sometimes doesn't sound as good as a regular black vinyl? I think a lot of times it does sound as good as black vinyl. And for the times when it does not, which happens occasionally, well, you know what? I have the black vinyl copy to play. So this is really nice to look at from time to time, and maybe give it a spin and watch it go around on the turntable. Hey, that's why the Beatles named their album Revolver in 1966. You noticed how it revolved around and around. A little tidbit for those of you who don't know. I remember when I was a kid and I first saw the album Revolver, I thought that it meant like a gun, that kind of a revolver. But was I wrong? I'm very surprised, moving on, very surprised that I bought this one. Okay, this is one of the newer releases. This just came out in a new batch. It's Paul's Russian album, Choba B CCCP, which is not one of my favorite Paul albums, not by a long shot. But when it comes to Paul, I want all his solo work, and it's not horrible. It's just not one of my favorites personally. I like the Run Devil Run album from 1999 better. It's a better rock oldies album in my opinion. I also like John Lennon's rock and roll album better than this, for what that's worth. But let's look at this. It's on yellow vinyl. One of the reasons I wasn't so interested in this was because it only has 11 tracks, I think. And there's versions out here that have more songs. He could have put more songs on it, but this is nice. It's got this little article talking about the Russian album and what it's all about. And then, of course, we get into the actual meat and potatoes, as you might say here. Look at that. Ooh-wee. Yes, I'm going to track all of these down. I'm missing some of these colored vinyl records, and I will complete my collection. Why was I thinking of passing these up? Huh? I mean, I don't know what I was thinking. So, now the last items plural, I'm going to show you some really, really nice nice vintage posters. 1964 posters of the Beatles. And, you know, these I think are fairly common. I've seen these around from time to time. The question is, what kind of condition are you going to find them in? And there's one here of each Beatle. And I'm going to start with John. Now, these are gorgeous. These were made in 1964. You might not be able to see it, but it's got the, you can't read that, NEMS Enterprises words on the bottom. And you can tell, you know, this has been used over the years. It's tape marks on the back where it's been displayed. And you can see on the corner there, you got a little discoloration of tape, you know. This one is pretty good considering its age, I think. And the quality goes a little downhill as we go on. I'll show you what I mean. Well, luckily, John and Paul, who are the main writers in the Beatles, the main two, right? This is not too bad either. This is Paul McCartney. These are beautiful. By the way, I should give the credit to the artist. The artist is Volpe. It's signed down there. Volpe, you know, 1964. And this one, same thing. You've got your tape residue marks on the back. If you look close enough, there's some pinholes on top of Paul's head, a little tear there. But it's not that bad. You know, I can always find upgrades of these, you know. So that's always something to think of. And now we got Ringo. Now, the quality here is going down a little because you can see here on this side, you got a little chunk there taken out of the corner. But still not bad. You can frame these and they still look great. The tape residue and, you know, little imperfections there on the side, you know, but really pretty nice overall, I think. The last one, unfortunately, is the one that's in the worst shape. It's a George Harrison one, and when you look at it, you know, from a distance, it's not that bad, but I think you can already spot, and I could fix that up a little bit. Visually, what you do is you just put some black paper on the back, you know. If you put some black on paper on the back, it would wind up actually being, I think, a little more desirable to look at here. So, and here you got a little tear down here. That's unfortunate too. Look at that rip. People don't take care of these things. Well, anyway, folks, that's it for this particular edition of Beatles Finds. I hope to see you again soon. I know I'll be getting more all the time.